Good morning, lovely people, and welcome to Be Yoga with Jakki. My name is Jakki, and this practice is especially for shift workers or for anyone whose work life or external life doesn't quite fit in with what their body clock needs. Maybe if you're working late shifts, you might not get home until midnight or even later, and then your morning is actually sometime in the afternoon. And you might find yourself wanting to do some yoga, but not have the energy to maybe do a long class or a class where there's a lot of weight bearing. So this practice is especially for you, whatever time of the day it is. If you want a short practice to help you ease into the day, wake up the body and connect with the breath. So let's begin. So we're going to start in just a seated wide-legged child's pose. So bringing both the knees to the outer edge of the mat and just arrive here. And I invite you to soften the body just 5% more. And maybe shift your focus to the breath. And if you feel comfortable, close your eyes and be guided by my voice. And just notice where in the body the breath feels like it's coming from. Maybe in the belly, or the chest, or the throat. Just notice. No need to change anything. And let's take our fingertips to the mat and slide them forward so we come down into that wide-legged child's pose with our head just touching the forehead. We can maybe rock our head from side to side, just waking up the senses. And I invite you to begin to slow the breath down a little bit more. So on the inhale, making that inhale a tiny bit longer and the breath a tiny bit deeper. And on the exhale, a tiny bit longer, a tiny bit deeper as you exhale the air. Two more times, just like that, in your own time. And maybe you start to notice any areas of the body that you're feeling maybe a little sore or tense. Body's still waking up from being still most of the night. And maybe just send some breath into those areas just to soften and ease. And now just lifting the head, bringing the hands back in, and we're going to shift to all fours. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips, hip width apart. And we're going to begin with a little cat-cow. So dropping the belly, taking the gaze forward, and then rounding the spine into cat pose. And I find this a really nice movement to make when just first waking up. Just warming up the spine. Might hear some clicks or cracks as the body realizes it's moving again. And saying good morning. A few more cat-cows in your own time, finding what feels good in your body. Maybe holding in one pose a little longer. Moving the head side to side. And And then coming back to that neutral spine, we're going to take our right hand and just trail it, rather, the fingertips trail up the left hand and reaching up to the sky, and then we're going to thread the needle, so under the left arm, our head and ear gently on the mat, and we're just getting a small little twist in the spine here. And taking a few breaths. Just gently moving the body. Let's come back to up fours, and let's do that on the other side. So trailing the fingertips up the right arm, reaching up. I just like to stretch my arm out a little bit more before bringing that under the right arm, threading the needle, and that small little twist in the spine. You can adjust where your hands go if it feels more comfortable to place it on the lower back, or you can reach the fingertips. And I just find this initial way of beginning yoga on a morning, because I get a lot of lower back pain after standing up a lot during the day. Just coming back to all fours, that just really loosens my spine and gets me feeling energized. And now we're going to tuck our toes under and bring our hands, I'll just move a little bit, so we're just in kind of like this froggy pose. Bit of yoga for the feet, can maybe just move the toes a little, and then we're going to do that same motion again. So trailing the fingertips of the right arm up, and then reaching that arm and taking the gaze towards the right fingertips. And you can maybe do this a few times, a few circular movements. We're just wanting to kind of open our heart space, our chest space, get the shoulders opening up, and let's switch sides. Just taking the left arm and our gaze back. Maybe doing a few circular movements. This really helps to open up the heart space here. And then taking our hands to the floor, we're going to just gently roll up and take a forward fold. And you can have your knees bent as generously as feels comfortable. Just warming up the hamstrings here. And I really like to imagine any to-do list, tasks, any stresses or worries that you have going on. I like to imagine them just dripping away off my shoulders and back into the earth where they can be nutrients for the soil. A couple more breaths here. Now we're going to start to walk our hands out and not come into a full plank, because we're going to do a little rocking motion. So I'll take my feet back a little bit more. You see, that's not quite a full plank because I would need my hands a bit more out. So we want the hands just in a little bit more so that you can start to just rock forward and back. And although we're on our hands here and we won't be here for too long, we're really just yielding our bodies into the ground, just connecting, making that connection. And I really like to maybe play with lifting the toes, or just going onto the toes and then rocking so the heels almost meet the ground. And then let's go into one downward dog, just one. taking a breath here, and then back to the knees. And we want to next take our hands a little bit forward, and we're going to go into pigeon pose. So bringing that right knee up, and we're just going to move it forward so that we place it under, behind even the right wrist, and then walk that left foot back, and we get this nice little stretch here around the psoas muscle. And again, this is stretching that muscle here can be really useful for any lower back pains. And then let's just take a gaze to the sun or the sky or the ceiling, wherever you are, and then folding forward, kind of reverent bow. Feeling that nice opening in the right hip. And breathing. Maybe to a count of 5, 3, 2. And now we're gonna just shift your right hip so it meets the ground, and gently push the body up so that we come into butterfly pose. So our soles of our feet together, and you can have your feet in as close or as further away from the body as much as feels comfortable. Maybe first thing in the morning it might feel more comfortable for the legs to be further out. And then clasping our hands and just sitting here for a moment of contemplation. Maybe take a moment to think of something you appreciate about today. And then let's shift over to the other side, going back onto all fours, and this time taking our left knee up so it meets behind the wrist of the left, and just scoot forward so you can see me better, stepping that right leg back, and just taking a brief gaze up to the sky before taking our head down, and just a reverent bow. A moment to go inside. Check out how you're feeling. You don't need to change anything, just noticing. Maybe when you're breathing in, notice I'm breathing in. And breathing out, notice I am breathing out. And let's come back to the center and shift our bodies so that we come to our backs. Just a couple more poses before we take rest. So coming to our backs, we're just going to go into supported bridge. So bringing our heels as close to the bum as we can get them, palms facing down onto the mat, and then just slowly tilting our pelvis towards us so our backs become flat against the mat, and then just slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, we're going to start lifting up. And then lowering down. And we're just going to take a few inhales and exhales as we move up and down with this movement. So inhaling, lifting the pelvis up. Exhale, lowering vertebrae by vertebrae till we hit the mat. 2 more times like that. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lowering down. 1 more time. Inhale and exhale. And then scoop the knees up into the chest, and maybe try to meet the tip of the toe, tip of the nose, meets the tip of the knees. And then we're going to take our arms into cactus arms, so just out like this, and just gently drop those knees over to the left side, and maybe take the left hand on top of the right knee and the gaze towards the right. And then we've got this beautiful opening and stretch in our right kind of armpit, and then this beautiful kind of wringing out, twisting out, rinsing out all the kind of bad juju, if there's any bad juju going on for you. And then let's move that to the other side, maybe moving the bum a little over, taking our gaze to the left, knees towards the right, our right arm resting on our left knee. And just noticing where the breath is. Is it different? Has it changed? Just notice. And let's come back into center and take our legs out to the end of the mat, letting our feet drop out to the side, our arms just out to the side. And Shavasana, rest time. The most important part of yoga practice is the rest time. Taking a moment here to just thank yourself for taking some time out, meeting your body and your breath on the mat. Beautiful. And you can stay here for as long as time allows you to, or if you really need to boogie and go, let's bring our prayers, hands together in prayer position, thumbs up to third eye, taking a deep breath in, the deepest breath you've taken all day, and sigh it out. Namaste. Have a beautiful day.